My name is Anna Spangler, and I am completing EE 520 at the University of West Alabama. My project is on the impact of project-based learning, or PBL, on kindergarten student achievement. Kindergarten students at Brook Hill Elementary come into school having different background knowledge and ability levels. The following graphs show the achievement of kindergarten students upon entering school. This is the base data. There are a total of 39 students in the non-PBL classrooms and 40 students in the PBL classrooms. Upon entering kindergarten, 21 students scored at benchmark level in early literacy in the non-PBL classrooms, and 14 students scored at benchmark in early literacy in the PBL classrooms. 21 students in the non-PBL classrooms benchmarked in early numeracy skills, and 20 students in the PBL classrooms benchmarked in the early numeracy skills. Teachers have begun instruction and will progress monitor throughout the year. This data will then be analyzed based on the rate of growth and the overall academic achievement of the students in the two different types of classrooms. Since the start of the COVID pandemic, kindergarten students have been struggling more than usual. This year, kindergarten students came to Brook Hill with low data in early literacy and early numeracy skills. In addition to low achievement data, the students struggled to collaborate with others and persevere through problems. Not receiving normal preschool instruction due to school closures or quarantine has greatly affected students' overall achievement. This project predicts that project-based learning classrooms will see an increase in reading fluency and mathematical reasoning, a significant increase in social studies and science achievement, and a significant increase in student engagement, motivation, and overall positive feelings towards school. PBL effects on student engagement. Dole, Bloom, and Doss researched the effects a summer camp had on teachers and students. Every summer, there is a camp put on that is intended to teach educators how to carry out PBL. The teachers complete the training and then can add this new training to their teaching certificate. The researchers reached out to teachers that have completed this training in the past, inquiring how the camp affected them, what they noticed of the students at the camp, and how it has affected the students they have had since. Teachers noted that their students are highly engaged in class and students feel empowered by taking leadership in their learning. Participants also noted that students learned how to continue working through problems even when things got difficult or confusing. The students had learned to persevere and improve their results. They reported that their students had obtained research skills and understood how subjects interconnect and relate to one another. Finally, educators reported that their students have learned how to collaborate with peers and take on leadership roles. PBL effects on student achievement. Another study conducted by Michigan State University found that students who participated in PBL performed on average 8 percentage points higher on a given science assessment in comparison to their peers that did not receive PBL in the classroom. In addition to the increase in science achievement, students had a positive impact on their engagement in reflection and collaboration. These effects were seen across different schools with varying ethnicities and socioeconomic statuses. Another study by PBL Works found that students achieved a 63% increase in social studies and a 23% increase in informational reading. Students scoring proficiently on standardized tests is important, but is it the most important thing? Does it matter how well students are scoring on these achievement tests if they are not completing high school? Too many students drop out of high school across America yearly. In addition to an alarming dropout rate, American students are not performing as well in science and math when compared to students in other nations. American educators must keep students in school while also increasing rigor in the classroom. A study among 7th and 8th graders in South Texas Middle School showed that PBL students in both 7th and 8th grade outperformed their peers in reading and math. Research proves that PBL improves real-life 21st century skills. In upper grades, there are increases in academic achievement, motivation, and engagement. The question is whether or not the time taken from explicit instruction in kindergarten will be detrimental to academic achievement of those students. The experimental research plan will use mixed methods to collect data. There will be a control group that does not participate in PBL instruction, receiving instead a traditional method of education with an emphasis on explicit instruction. Data will be analyzed at the beginning of the school year to obtain a baseline of academic levels using a standardized progress monitoring tool called AimsWeb to obtain a quantitative measure. Throughout this study, 2 experimental classes will receive PBL instruction with highly qualified teachers who have a K-6 teaching certificate. Certified teachers of all groups will complete a report card indicating their students' proficiency in science and social studies based on the Alabama State standards using the scales experiencing difficulty, working towards mastery, and mastered. In addition to this, all teachers will administer a paper survey to their students to obtain data on how students feel about school. Over the course of 3 months, AimsWeb will be administered at least twice a month for students at benchmarks and weekly for struggling students. The survey regarding students' feelings towards school will be given at the beginning of the year and the conclusion of this research project. Report cards will be filled out after the research indicating student proficiency in science and social studies. Data will determine if PBL is capable of closing the achievement gap seen in the kindergarten students at Brook Hill. The AimsWeb Early Literacy and Early Numeracy will be administered to all kindergarten students at Brook Hill Elementary at the beginning of the school year. The population will then be divided into 2 groups for a duration of 3 months. A survey will be administered to students at the beginning and conclusion of the study to obtain student enjoyment levels. A report card at the conclusion of the study will indicate student proficiency levels in science and social studies standards that have been taught. Certified teachers will use self-made rubrics to assess the science and social studies standards that have been taught throughout the duration of the study. Kindergarten teachers will work together and with school administration to be sure all standards are being covered thoroughly. The administration and the school instructional partner will work with kindergarten teachers to approve the lessons that they have created together. Kindergarten teachers incorporating PBL in the classroom will create projects together and indicate the standards being covered in their projects. Teachers incorporating traditional and explicit teaching methods in their classrooms will work together to plan lessons that cover the same standards as the PBL classrooms. The study will begin following the initial benchmark assessment of early literacy and early numeracy skills using AimsWeb during the 3rd week of school. These assessments are done early on in the school year to get a baseline of student abilities before going too deep into core instruction. Students will also complete a survey indicating their enjoyment levels for school. Certified teachers will be responsible for administering AimsWeb weekly or every other week. They will also be responsible for administering student enjoyment surveys and completing report cards rating student proficiency on science and social studies standards that have been taught. 2 certified teachers will teach their classes using a mixture of daily PBL and explicit phonics instruction. 2 other certified teachers will be responsible for teaching the same standards using only explicit traditional instruction. Teachers will collaborate to ensure the same standards are being covered throughout the study. Following the end of the 3-month research study, data will be gathered from the entirety of the AimsWeb data. The reports over the 3 months will show the rate of growth and whether or not students met their goals. Teachers will complete report cards indicating student proficiency on science and social studies standards they were taught using a scoring guide that consists of experiencing difficulty, working towards mastery, or mastery of standard. Teachers will also administer another survey regarding student enjoyment of school. Data will be compared among the PBL and non-PBL classrooms from the course of the study. AimsWeb is a national tool that is used to monitor student progress in the areas of early literacy and early numeracy skills. This is a valid measuring tool because it is used nationwide and students are ranked on a national level in comparison to peers across the country. The same questions are asked and the same skills are assessed across the board. The teacher-made rubrics will be reliable because all the kindergarten teachers will work collaboratively to create rubrics that are strictly based on the standards that they have taught. All teachers will use the same rubric to measure how well students understood a standard being taught, whether it be through PBL or traditional methods. These rubrics will then transfer to the report card that teachers will complete, filling out student proficiency. All students will receive the same survey at the beginning and the conclusion of the study, making it reliable. They will be given the same instructions by a certified teacher on how to complete the survey. All 4 of the teachers are certified teachers. The 2 using PBL will have the same units to include in their classroom lesson plans. The other 2 not utilizing PBL will work together to create lesson plans covering the same standards in all subject areas as the PBL groups. All of the kindergarten students will be monitored to account for different cultural groups, different socioeconomic groups, and student absences. Every student will be receiving instruction from a highly qualified teacher. The same standards will be covered among the 4 classrooms. In addition to this, students will be monitored throughout the course of the study to check their growth. Because of this, there is no risk to participants in this study. Student identity will be protected by each student receiving a random number 1 through 79. If the action plan had been implemented, student data would reflect positive results. AIMSweb data would show an increase in early literacy skills. Early literacy skills would be improved because student engagement is heightened through PBL instruction. During units, students are reading material that is more meaningful for them since they are having to read different texts to solve a specific problem. Another reason their literacy skills would improve is because of the amount of collaboration during units. Students frequently collaborate with peers and community members to solve problems. Language fosters language, and speaking to others builds a more extensive vocabulary. AIMSweb data would also show an improvement in early math skills. PBL helps build perseverance and problem-solving skills. Students are better equipped to think critically if they have practiced this skill throughout units. Science and social studies would be shown to improve through standards-based report cards that indicate if students are experiencing difficulty, working towards mastery, or have mastered a concept. More students will have mastered concepts through the incorporation of PBL. In addition to academic growth, students will enjoy school more. This will be evidenced by student surveys where kindergarten school rate how much they enjoy school and what they enjoy most about school. One change I would make would be more standardized evaluation for science and social studies. These subjects are extremely important for our students, but often get put on the back burner. If teachers do not foster student love for science and social studies, students will have a difficult time engaging in it as the years go on. Teachers could collaborate to create frequent assessments that help teachers keep data and get a better understanding for where students are at in these subject areas. Further research could be done to incorporate explicit phonics instruction into PBL. PBL is discovery learning and student-led. However, research shows that phonics should be taught using direct and explicit instruction. If these 2 worlds could be meshed together somehow, I think schools would see jumps in data. And here are my resources.